Welcome to the HerStory Circle podcast, the podcast that brings you the extraordinary tales of everyday women who are changing the world. I'm your host, Gertrude Mache, and I'd like to acknowledge traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today. I also like to pay my respects to elders, past, present, and emerging. Every week, we dive into the lives, challenges, and triumphs of women from all four corners of the globe. We're here to inspire, enlighten, and connect, sharing stories that uplift and empower. So grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and join us as we explore the incredible journeys of women shaping our future. This is Her Story, where every woman's voice matters. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the HerStory Circle. This is Gertrude Mache here in beautiful Melbourne, Australia. And today I am graced with the presence of yet another fascinating young woman. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our tribe. Please tell everybody your full name, where you're based, and share your story with us today.
Thank you so much, Gertrude, for that lovely introduction. Hi, everybody. My name's Kat Tomlinson, or Catherine, if you want my Christian name, or the church name, I suppose. I am 37 years old. I'm based in Manchester, UK, and I am the founder and director of a company called Skilled Summers. And we specialise in J1 exchange and cultural J1 recruitment and cultural exchange throughout the world into America and Canada. So it all started, I suppose, back when I was a lot younger. I didn't really know what I wanted to do through school. I was kind of born and bred in Sheffield, which is a little town about 40 miles from Manchester. Pretty unremarkable. There was not really any direction on what I wanted to do. Did pretty well in school. I went to university to study initially counselling, and I didn't really get on too well with that course. I didn't leave home. I stayed in Sheffield. So I decided that I wanted a change and swapped to a nursing degree. So I did 3 years of nursing in Leeds, and I found that incredible. I specialised in mental health, so I spent a lot of time working with underprivileged communities, eating disorders, all types of drug-induced mental health, which I found really incredible. But through my time in university, we didn't get time to travel. You nursed all the way through placement in your summer. So I knew a lot of people took the summer to backpack, interrail, travel, and do work abroad programs. So I wasn't able to do that. So once I graduated, I did a year. I worked in a dementia unit for a year, which was challenging and really enjoyable, but yeah, definitely came with challenges. So I was working with young people with dementia. And then I decided to take my gap year, which is what a lot of people will do, usually between their university and starting a career. So part of that for me, I've always been passionate about horses. I've had a horse kind of growing up from when I was 14, and I decided that I wanted to try and teach horse riding abroad, and found a company that allowed me to do that over in America. So I flew out to Michigan in 2010. Couldn't have pointed to Michigan on a map, wouldn't have told you anything about it. This was before social media, YouTube, Instagram. So I couldn't find anything about it. It was just a blind leap of faith. I just turned up in Michigan on the 1st of May and spent the most incredible summer learning all about the power of cultural exchange. And I've worked with some incredible people from all around the world. I've got friends in Poland, in South Africa, in Singapore, in Australia, all over the place. And that was kind of that lit a fire under me to really kind of set my travel passions alight. And so after I did my 12 weeks in America, I did my 30 days, I traveled around the States. And then I decided to go down to South America and traveled around South America. And that was it. I was definitely bitten by the bug after that. And I was lucky enough to be given an opportunity to work for the company that sent me abroad. So I used that time over that 7 years I worked with them to really kind of make some inroads. I spent a lot of time meeting clients over in America and interviewing hundreds of people, again, all around the world, to kind of fit them into this program. So I did kind of start to realize that when I went to camp, I was a pretty decent horse rider, and the camp that I went to didn't have the best facilities. And once I started to travel around these different camps, I realized that there was so many different styles of camps. So they've got the camps that specialize in special needs children, underprivileged children, really high-end sporting camps, so for people that sailing, golfing, horse riding, all of these things. So I put the concept together of trying to match these people, really skilled people with really good camps, and give them a better service. So if they came to me as a horse rider, I can now have that knowledge to say to them, look, we've got 6 or 7 different camps, which one would suit you the best? And then I also started to realize that there's a lot of underrepresented countries across these camps as well. The program is a cultural exchange, so but the predominant country is England that sends these people to camp. So as I started to explore more travel, I'm lucky enough now to, I think I've traveled to over 70 countries, including all the way through Africa. And that kind of led me into also starting a little charity down in Uganda that supports children's education down there as well. And since then, we've developed a recruiting arm in in Ghana, in Zimbabwe, and also in South Africa, as well as Ghana, China, and Pakistan. So I've really, really enjoyed meeting these people, connecting them with these incredible camps, getting the feedback from camps, and giving an opportunity to countries that don't normally have such a strong representation on the program. So that's been a huge highlight. I'm due to fly out to America next week, and I get to go meet the people that I've spoken to and see them in camp and hear how that's changed their lives. I know one girl in particular, she is from Uganda. I placed her into a camp last summer, and they loved her so much that they've given her an 18-month contract. So she's actually moving over there now. She's recruiting also her friends and people that she went to university with in social work to work with children with special needs over there. So that's just been amazing. Most of my growth has been organic. So it really is just people telling about their friends and family and referring each other, and also giving us really good feedback about my involvement. I've tried as hard as I can. Like, every single person that goes on my program has my WhatsApp number, and some days it feels a lot because I'll wake up to people messaging me on different time zones, but they really appreciate that extra step that we go to make people feel like they're not a number. Some of these programs send thousands of people a year, and you come lost in the system, whereas I will meet somebody, I will know where they come from, what their skills are, what their backgrounds are, what camp they're going to. I think that really does show as well. But in terms of building the business, I founded it in 2020, which was the worst time that you could possibly try and launch a travel business. And naively, I thought it'd all blow over. So I recruited all the way through 2020 with 100% refund guarantee, thinking that everyone could fly and they'd be in camp for 2021. That did not happen. And the first year I was faced with nearly £20,000 of refunds. But a few people that believed in kind of what we were saying, they transferred their applications to the year after. So for 2022, we finally got people on the ground in America, and it's grown ever since that. I did return to nursing during the pandemic. That was the only thing I could do. So once 2020 hit, luckily I got my nursing license. I went back into work in a nursing home. I managed that for a year, and then moved into community nursing, back into mental health. So again, back into that area of helping people with, quite difficult struggles with drug and alcohol abuse, alongside building skilled summers with my incredible team that work remotely. So I've got an amazing, what do we call her, Georgia, who's my right arm, basically, my kind of assistant, my head of operations, absolutely everything. She works off grid in Spain with her 2 daughters. So we worked out a way to kind of make that fit for her. And then my other staff, one of them's in Birmingham, one of them's in Southampton, which is the bottom of the country. So we all kind of communicate quite successfully online. And then we've also managed to recruit and incentivize the people that have been to our camps. So we've kind of got like a little mini team of people all around the world that are sharing their stories in their universities, in their communities, and then they're kind of bringing them together. So for the first time this summer, once everybody's back from camp, we're going to bring everybody together as much as we can. So people that are in Europe and the people that are in England, we're bringing them all together into Manchester for like one big kind of get together to talk about the season ahead. But it's been an interesting few years for sure. Trying to build a travel company in COVID is not the easiest of things to do.
What an incredible journey. My goodness. And the courage that you had not to stop. A lot of people would have been discouraged, put off with what was happening with the pandemic, but it looks like you were able just to forge on. So how did COVID-19 pandemic shape your business approach and mindset?
I think it took me, because it happened at the start of, obviously when I was launching it. So in my head, the old way was very much office based. We had like 40 odd staff based in one location, and it was very quickly, we had to move online like the whole world did. So I realized at that point, it can be done. It was a different way of thinking outside those boxes and just trying to put things in. So it's very quickly how to learn how to put your online calendars together and how to work with staff and getting people to trust you as well, like virtually, is a whole different thing, because before that we'd be sitting people down and we'd be shaking hands and we'd be doing physical presentations. Where we have to very quickly be like, okay, this is an online service, but it still trust us. You can still do it. So it was a lot of me doing, face-to-face kind of virtual talks, webinars, things like that. And especially from the countries outside of the UK where the program isn't known. Again, it's trying to build trust. I'm talking to somebody in Pakistan from the UK about a job in the USA. There's a lot of maybe mistrust in that. So I think we've done well to build that confidence through our online presence.
That's just incredible. So what are the biggest challenges that you found of running remote and global teams?
Time differences for one. It's trying to get everybody together at a time that fits everybody. And obviously it's trying to find that balance of, especially working with Georgia, who is off grid and she's a busy mum, allowing her that flexibility to be like, okay, I know you're going to get this done. You might have a sick child in the morning or the car might break down or something like that. So I'm not a very, not hands-on manager, not like a micromanager type of person. I'm not like that. I'm very much trust you to get on with it and we'll just kind of fit it in where we all can. So I'm very much still trying to have that approach with everybody. We have really regular meetings where we kind of set out what we're going to do, and then a lot of the time I just kind of let people manage their day, and I think that is great for them. It's very much, with nursing, it's you're on your feet all the time anyway. You're not sat in an office job, but I did find working with big teams in the office where it's a bit, not soul destroying, that's the wrong word, but you sat there, you're like, right, this is the next 8.5 hours of your day, however long it is, you're sat at this desk and you've not got that, you can't just have that break, that mental break. If you need some time to go and have half an hour sat outside or something, it's just really frowned upon within that office environment. Whereas now everybody's just got the freedom to do that, as long as you get your work done and you check in with us, and that's fine. And for our remote teams as well, we give them all the materials that they need. They check in with us regularly. They have my personal number. I'm always available to them, and off they go. And with the guys that are in Europe, I'm like, look, if you want to get the presentation set up, I'll fly over and meet and help present with you. So they're not just kind of left to do it. They've got the support of us there. So yeah, the challenges pop up every now and again. Sometimes people will disappear for a bit, or you're trying to get hold of somebody and they're not there. Okay, what's going on? But yeah, I think 9 times out of 10, it's really worked for us. It's just allowed people to take ownership and have some initiative around managing their day to day, and hopefully making their home life a bit better and their work-life balance. I think I really don't want to have a company where people are just glued to a desk and just smacked by targets all the time, because it's not how I want to live either.
They're actually saying that productivity went up with this new way of working, especially for women, young moms who have families. They will put in the time in and around their families and the work does get done, correct?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And,
Mhm.
I trust Georgia so much. She'll say to me, oh, Kat, I need to take a couple of hours off because X, Y, Z. I'll pop on and do stuff. And I'll see her log on in the evenings or early mornings or even on the weekends. And she doesn't feel like it's a chore or anything like that. She's like, oh, I need to do it, not a problem. And she'll fit it in around. And I really, appreciate and respect that. And we also, I don't mind messaging her. So if I've got a thought on a Saturday morning, I'll pop that over to her and she'll pick it up whenever she feels like it. I don't feel like I'm bothering her because she's like, oh yeah, it's all flexible. I'll pick it up in a couple of hours. And she'll do the same for me. If she's got questions that she wants to get an answer to offline, then, she'll send it over. I'll get back to her. So there's no feeling of uncomfortable or I can't message somebody at 5:30 on a Friday because they'll be upset I'm bothering them. It doesn't feel like that at all, which is really nice.
That's beautiful. So how do you build trust with US summer camps and your customers across the globe?
For the camps, it's definitely been me and my face, and the fact that every summer I've driven 10,000 miles and knocked on their doors and gone, hi, I'm Kat and I've got 12 of your staff here, and you know what, I know their names, and oh my God, they were amazing in their interview, and how are they fitting in with this skill, and oh, this person said so. Again, I pride myself on having that personal touch and knowledge, and they really appreciate that, because with the bigger companies, a rep might turn up and they'll have a list and be like, oh, who's this person, point them out. Whereas I turn up to camp and I recognize their faces and I can tell, and the camps like that. And they very much like that. As soon as I interview with somebody, I'm like, you'll be perfect for this camp. And I'll text the camp director and I'll be like, okay, Max has come in. He's a perfect guy for you. And 9 times out of 10, they're interviewed and hired almost immediately. So it's definitely that personalized service that's helped to build skilled summers and made it different to everybody else. Yeah. And in terms for the customer base in the UK, it's very saturated. There's a lot of different companies around. So I think it's, again, and people will shop around, and I want them to. I want them to start, looking at other companies and trying to compare and why we're better. Yeah. And I would say it's that personal service that makes us stand out. But elsewhere, we don't spend a penny on international marketing, nothing at all. It's all through word of mouth and people texting me, hi Kat, I've got your number from Mohammed, and he said, he had a really great experience. Like, can I come and join? And I'm like, yeah, come and book in, have a chat with me. And that's how I've built it.
That's just incredible. So what makes Skilled Summers different from all the other travel programs? What would you say is your biggest unique selling point?
The USP is the personalized side of it. There's not many people that you can speak to that have personally visited over 100 camps, that work so closely with so many different camps, and that can give you, the pros and cons, because a lot of people sell this as, 100% positive. It's not difficult. That's not the case. It's long hours, you'll be tired, lack of privacy, you're with the kids constantly. So it's about finding that right personality fit as well. There's a big difference between working at a high-end children's camp where the really wealthy children and they've got everything on the plate and the facilities are super high-end, to working at a camp maybe with underprivileged children that might have behavioural and difficulty needs. And so it's placing people correctly to benefit their strengths as well as some of their weaknesses. They might want to develop in certain areas where we can help that.
That's interesting. So how have personal relationships influenced your business success, do you think?
It wouldn't be here without the personal relationships that I've built. Having the confidence to build it, especially in the middle of COVID, I don't even know how I did that, but it was because I felt confident that I could reach out to these camps and they know me from past, and I was able to do that. And especially with my staff as well, I feel like they're my friends as well, and not my employees. They go above and beyond, and I feel like I will do the same for them as well. And I really try hard to get everybody together as often as possible. So Georgia lives in Spain, so at least twice a year I fly everybody to Spain, and we have barbecues each days, and we catch up because again it's a fairly young team as well. So I want people to enjoy working with the people that are in the business. And another point is, aside from Georgia, everyone that works my team have been skilled summers applicants. So Harry and Bart and Callum and all the brand managers, they've done the program, so they know what it's like. They know the level of service that we deliver and then what we want to maintain. And when applicants are talking to staff, they can be like, yes, I went to this amazing camp and Kat was great, and this is how it, that's how it's been built. So I'm super proud of this team. They're fantastic, and I hope that they continue to stay along for the journey as we continue to grow.
Oh, I love it. That's just amazing. So what role does female leadership play in your own entrepreneurial journey? Who have been your role models?
Oh, that's a good question. I'll tell a very quick story about how I went onto The Apprentice, the show where you, and I got all the way through until the last selection process.
Right.
And the thing that picked me up is I'd just seen Hillary Clinton do a keynote speaker at one of these events that we go to, and she was talking about education, the power of education. And the question was, who's a role model that you would look up to, that inspires you? And I said Hillary Clinton, as I've just seen her speak, and she just lost the election. And the guy interviewing me said, I'm going to stop you right there. Hillary is a loser. Do you really think that Lord Sugar wants to be associated with people that look up to losers? And that stuck with me for so long. So I was like, how dare you speak about, anyone like that, but a woman who is the first woman to ever run for president of the United States that's done so much, and you literally, clout has just shot me down about associating her with a loser. And that really stuck with me. And I was like, no, we're not having that. So yeah, I feel that, again, Georgia, I can't stop talking about her. She's just been incredible in everything that she's done, but I couldn't have done it without her. I was nursing still. I was doing 40 hours a week. I was doing night shifts. I was dealing with really difficult, complex, situations. And sometimes I didn't have the mental capacity to sit down and do a full day working on skilled summers and all of that. And she took that all away from me. She's like, Kat, don't worry about it. I'll sort it. So balancing the two. I'm not nursing anymore. I stopped that last year, but the 3 years that's the juggling there has been really difficult, and I couldn't have done it without Georgia there. And again, the girls that work for us as part of the brand manager teams are all fantastic and all inspire me. And sometimes you have a bad day and you kind of wonder, why do I do that? And then you might get a text message, or you'll see on social media at the minute, a lot of every day we're getting tagged in the socials of people at camp. I'm like, this is why we do it.
That's the reason why. So in what ways do you think women, particularly remote workers, are redefining the future of work?
I think they're really prioritizing, their life, their family life in particular, what hobbies and interests they have, and the work-life balance. I keep using Georgia as an example, but she's built a homestead. She's got her 2 children at school, like she's up kind of feeding the chickens and doing whatever, getting the kids to school. Then she'll sit down to work. Then she'll pick up a child and have lunch, and then she'll come back to work, and then she'll have family time in the evening and do a bit more. So I love the fact that she's been able to build that around that, and she prioritizes her home life and being a mother. And I'm definitely all for that. If I said to her, no, Georgia, like you're sat here 9 to 5 and you can have a half an hour break and I expect you at the end of the phone, I wouldn't have a staff. I wouldn't have her. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I really do feel, and for myself, I don't have children, I've got my horses, and I've built my business around what I want to do. Yes. And I set my diary around that. And, if something pops up and I can't do it, it's so easy for me to just pick up the phone, ring the person, but I'm really sorry, something's popped up. Do you mind if I move it around? And not one person's had an issue with that. So I think it's about being genuine, being like, I'm working around my life. I'm not working to live. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. So how does your company foster connection, productivity, and trust in a remote or hybrid environment? You must have a very robust CRM system where people are accountable. How are you managing all of that?
Yeah, that comes down to another member of my team, Callum, who's been incredible. So he's put in a really good CRM system. So we do use Monday and a couple of other internal features. So everybody, as the leads come in, they're assigned to people. So it's really clear when people log on for the day, who's doing what. We have weekly, bi-weekly check-ins as a team, and then I'll also touch base with people like as and when, if anybody needs anything. But yeah, the system is super clear. So we built it to a point now where hopefully, touch wood, like nothing gets missed, things are popping up. We have a shared inbox, so we can all use that. So if somebody's off or sick, things aren't missed, we can just pop straight in. And then we use WhatsApp. We have a WhatsApp group, and I know it might not be the most efficient, but it works for us. You know, we've got it logged onto our computers. It just pops up every now and again. So yeah, it's a small team as well. I mean, my initial team, there's 5 people, and then obviously the wider brand managers, that's a little bit harder to keep on top of because there's so many of them. Again, they're in different time zones. So that's very much that comes to me. So I'm happy with that responsibility of people, because I've made it the company so much about not me, but as in I'm the face that they recognize. I'm the one that's taken them through their journey, and I want to maintain that. And I think I get the best out of people when I've not started it and then passed it off to somebody they don't know. So hopefully they feel quite nurtured around that. But yeah, it's been difficult to put it all together, but hopefully we've got something that works at the minute.
I love it. So what qualities do you look for in a virtual assistant or a remote team member beyond just skills?
A personality fit for sure. Like I really enjoy people that are kind of, you know, very bubbly, proactive, have that, you know, sense of initiative, aren't afraid to ask questions, don't feel like they're bothering me.
Yes.
I'm more than happy for people to just give me a call. Like, I don't mind. I'm not going to be annoyed if I'm not sat at my desk and, you know, pick up the phone and call me. So yeah, and they also maintain that level of excitement for the staff, for the applicants. You know, every single interaction I want an applicant to have, I want them to think that person was great. Oh my, you know, I loved speaking with Harry or Georgia or Callum, Bart, whoever it is. So yeah, just having that just chirpy personality, I think, and understanding that it's not a privilege, that's not the right word, but understanding how it's a good thing to be able to have this flexibility, and then they respect that, and it's a give and take as well. So sometimes, you know, if I say, look, take the afternoon off, do whatever you need, but if somebody's having a trouble on a Saturday afternoon, like let's keep in touch with them. It's not, oh, we're not working over the weekend. We don't work over the weekend, but I will. If someone's messaging me and they're stuck with their application and they're stressing about it, it takes me 2 minutes to reply to them. So there's not a culture of things have to be done outside of working hours, but the team will do it because they know how much the customer service kind of means to us.
I think it's everything in this kind of a business. So are you currently hiring? And if so, what roles or skills are you currently seeking?
So we are at the very beginning of our recruiting season at the minute. So we will recruit, usually it's along the school calendar years in the Northern Hemisphere, so September to around March. Obviously the people in below South Africa and Australia and New Zealand are on the other side, so it's a little bit different for them with their school years. So as we will continue to grow through kind of September, October, November, we'll have more and more influx of coming in. So we always will look for either like virtual assistants or interviewers that might help us with the admin side of it. So when people are kind of qualified and they need some help reviewing their applications, sometimes if English isn't their first language, they don't understand how to properly write and express their skills. So we'll do like maybe a half an hour session with them where we explain how to break things down and what the camps are looking for. Then we also, there's the kind of the admin side of, as much as you can CRM it, sometimes people just need someone to be on the phone to be like, have you done your references? Like, have you done your police check? Just to kind of give them, and also touch base, because as we're taking hundreds of people through, some people will apply in September and be hired in September and don't travel until June. So it's a long time for them not to be spoken to. So again, we have people that will touch base there. So there will be some positions, I think, for that type of virtual customer service role, but also the brand managers. We could have hundreds of them, because as long as you're out there helping us recruit, then there's a role for you. So it's very much for people that are self-starting, that are like, okay, well, I know yourself, you saw a gap in the market for medical staff. You're like, okay, well, I feel like I've got some people. The girl from Uganda is a prime example of that. She went into the university and told all her social work friends, and I got 6 or 7 people within the week saying, I'd love to do it, because for them, having an American summer working at a special needs camp or underprivileged camp really helps them for their future careers. So if there's people that have interest in their local communities, definitely feel free to reach out, and we can work together on that, because I really would like to see this program reach countries and areas that are underrepresented for sure.
That is fascinating. So how does your business support diversity, equity, and inclusion, especially for women and mothers who are working remotely, and also women who might have disabilities?
So for again, use Georgia as an example, but she works completely around her children. So for me, all for it. For me, you're working at a computer. You don't have to be physically able. If you're disabled and you need those adaptions making, you can do it to suit yourself. So for that, it doesn't kind of factor into my hiring decision like whatsoever. As long as you have that personality and that drive, we can make it work however suits your lifestyle. For sure. You can work it around your own hours. It completely is fine. As long as we're saying, okay, well, there's 20 people here that need X, Y, Z. As long as that's done, I don't mind if you're working at 2:00. Well, maybe not 2:00 in the morning if you're speaking to people, but I don't mind. Fit it in wherever you need to. That's completely fine. In terms of the diversity side of it, I think that's something I've really massively pushed. Like the first year of Skilled Summers, we sent 2 people from Pakistan. This year, it's nearly 70, and that's been over the last 3 years. So I go to an event every year where they share the figures of where these people are coming from in the world. And I was really proud to sit there and I saw like Pakistan like jump up a few, and I was like, yeah, that's something that we've done. And again, they're the girls there a lot of the time, again, don't get so much opportunity to travel. So this has really helped change their lives as well. They're like, yeah, wow, I wouldn't have got the foot in the door if it wasn't for what we did. So yeah, I'm definitely really keen on our international arm of the business.
So how do you ensure that your remote workers feel seen, valued, and part of the mission?
I would like to think that especially our the start of season, end of season physical get-togethers are really important. So the people that are working remotely, as much as I can, I will get them into Manchester. So it's more difficult with places that need visas, but especially for Europe and the UK, I'll cover your expenses, everything. Like come and meet the team. But it's really important that we have really regular, virtual catch-ups where we've got everybody on the call from all the different time zones. They're introducing themselves, they're telling us about their story. We're currently making a page on the website for everybody so they can put their pictures up, they can give a little synopsis about themselves and what they're doing. At camp, you meet people from all over the world, and that's kind of what we're doing here as well. Like if you're recruiting from Pakistan, you'll still be speaking with somebody from Ghana or China and the UK and Ireland and all of that. So we're trying to bring people in very much like that. And then for myself, again, my phone's always open, and I woke up this morning to like 6 or 7 people from around the world, like asking questions and checking in, and they know it might take me a couple of hours, but I'll always get back to them. So I hope that direct line to me makes them feel like welcome, for sure. I've always got time for them. Just pulling everybody together with our regular catch-ups and webinars and everything like that. I wish I could do a lot more of the in-person stuff, but that's, I suppose, one of the downsides of virtual work and hiring people. Like I didn't think twice about hiring Harry, even though I knew he was for nearly a 5-hour drive up the country. And I'd love to have him in the office once a week, but it doesn't make sense for him to spend 10 hours a week driving up and down the country. It just doesn't. So we do it virtually. But yeah, he comes up every probably 2 to 3 months, and we'll sit down, we'll go out for dinner. Again, I try and build a professional friendship, I suppose. Like he'll come up, we'll sit in the office for the day, we'll go out for dinner and drinks, and we'll go and do something non-work. And I hope he values that as well.
So what advice would you give to founders or CEOs who are hesitant to hire remotely?
I think set out your boundaries, set out really clear deliverables, set out really clear targets and how you expect them to work, but also give them a bit of free rein to work out what works for them as well. Check in regularly. You don't have to be as free and easy as I am with my mobile number, but it's a case of have a direct line to you, have maybe a couple of times a day or a week where you've got a diary available so people can book in, encourage them to keep it as a casual chat. Don't make it as corporate. Just be like, okay, let's talk about your challenges, because they will be the challenges, so kind of prompt them as well and get them comfortable about talking. I do have one guy who said he finds it really difficult to work remotely. he finds the motivation quite low. He doesn't like being sat in his house to work. So there's those challenges that will come up. Can we get people out into hot desking offices? Because again, working from a coffee shop, it's all well and good, but you don't want to spend a whole day there. So those challenges as well. And yeah, understand some days people might, not be in the mindset to do it, and they're not in the office with someone breathing down their neck. So it's that bit I found hard as well, is trying to keep everybody like super excited all the time when you've not got your team around you, because that's a lot of the time what kind of keeps you energized. So some days when you've got a full day working and you don't speak to anybody all day, maybe the odd applicant, it can be hard to keep people motivated. So yeah, as long as they know what they're doing, you've got to encourage initiative, but a lot of the time it's okay. You find people work really easy if they've got a bit of a, right, between 10 and 12 we're doing X, and between 2 and 4 we're doing this. Then you've got a bit of time to do some outreach work or however, but definitely encourage them to work on their schedule and what works for them, and encourage those breaks as well. We're not meant to sit and work for 7 hours solid. We really are.
So what is your boldest vision for the future of work, and how are women leading the way?
I very much like to think that, women can build these lifestyle businesses, and it can fit them however they want to do it, and they don't have to work 40-hour weeks. I think if we're really clever about how we break down our workload, for Skilled Summers, obviously I am the face of the brand. I've been doing a lot of the interviewing and the placing, and I want to continue doing that as much as I can, but as the business grows, I'm not going to be able to do that. So I need to get as many people around me that have the same kind of mindset, the same sort of goal, and that can take a lot of that work away from me, so that I can, again, work on developing the company, developing the charity, doing different things. That what I'm doing is probably not sustainable in the long term forever. So I need to kind of figure out how to bring that together. And I really hope that, Georgia is going to stay with me for the long term. And again, as her family continues to grow and my children go to like different schools, she's going to have different priorities and different times to fit that all in. So I'm really keen on bringing people on board that, share the vision and that want to build a role around them and around their lives, and to make it work for them for the long term. But I would like to hope that I can get Skilled Summers to the point where I can just sit and review it and spend a couple of hours a week checking in with the people that work for me, and step away from the applicant side of it, but not have the quality drop. That would definitely be the long-term goal of having Georgia at the forefront, or whoever else comes to join us, and just check in with them, or pop over and have a cup of coffee and let them tell me how the business is developing. But I don't want to be completely hands off. No, definitely not. And I see how much this impacts people, not just my staff, but the applicants, and then obviously the children at the end of it as well. We forget that we're doing this because we're hoping that we're going to pass this cultural experience onto these kids at these camps and improve their lives. There's a lot to kind of think about, but hopefully, I can build a business that suits everybody's lifestyle, and they really enjoy and thrive in, and they're happy to come to work and spread the word.
Now, you and I share a passion around education and children, and you have traveled extensively and seen the impact of what very few amounts of money, dollars, can make in developing countries. Why are you so passionate about supporting children's education? What was the turning point for you? What is it that you saw in your travels where you realized that you could really make a difference, and that giving had an immense impact on your business?
Yeah, I mean, oh my God, the passion I've got for this, I've been so fortunate to be able to travel. A lot of the time I've done it on a shoestring. I've not been given loads of money to go and do it. I've backpacked. But I went to Africa and I did a 9-week overland trip through Africa, one of those overland tour buses. And I turned up in Uganda, and I got talking to one of the local girls there, and she was having quite a bad day. And she's like, "Oh, we're supporting one of these families, and they've lost somebody close to them. They've not got enough money for the funeral and for food." And she was trying to get me to go and see this family in the middle kind of this little place in Uganda in Ginger. And I was a little bit hesitant. I thought, you know what, I'm going to go. So she took me the next day. We'd got some days off. And that's where I met the Lakita family, who basically founded, or who the foundation's been named after. And what I saw honestly broke my heart. I mean, traveling through Africa, you're going to see, poverty. It's all around, anywhere in the developing countries. But this really, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. There was a family of 7 living in one hut with the animals, with no beds, no sanitation, no nothing. Like, the children were, wearing rags. And I stood there and I was like, I can't believe, like, this is how people are living. So I think like almost the next day, I set up a GoFundMe just for my friends and family. And I think we raised £3,000 in a week-ish. And I was like, okay, well, what's the priorities? What do we need to do? And that, well, none of the children are in school. They've got no, the clothes are really poor, and we need to rebuild the house. So the first thing we did is we got the children all enrolled in local school, and that was really cheap. And they get fed there as well. They're fed when they get there, which they're not getting at home. So that was like £12 a month for each child. So like immediately all the children were in school. We rebuilt the house. We put in running water because they were taking water from the river up until then. Mattresses, mosquito nets, everything. We did as much as we could with this money that we got through. And we've just followed that journey now. So we've started that in, it must have been 2012, I think it was, 2012, 2013. And now we've got, I think, 26 children that we're supporting in school. And then we just do, as and when I've got somebody on the ground that I trust implicitly, and he'll say to me, something's happened within the community, there's been an outbreak of malaria, we need medication, we need things, and we will just fundraise as and when. But I went out there, I've been out there 3 times now before the pandemic, and going into the schools was another, the education, if they get there, is still, it's not good enough. So they're going, but they're not really learning anything. And I remember going into the girls' school in particular, and we kind of put, what do you want to do when you grow up? And the first girl said a mother. And I was like, well, that's sadly what happens. Like, most of these girls are mothers by the time they're 14, 15, 16. Another girl said an accountant. And I was like, oh my goodness, like, how amazing. Like, how do you get there? Like, tell me what your story is to get to being there. And she didn't know, she couldn't tell me, because there's no route. There's no route for her to go to college, to go to university, to qualify. Yeah. And I was like, what can we do about that? How can we open that up? And again, a lot of them aren't speaking English. They're speaking either their local languages, and that ties them off from the rest of the world. They can't progress. So for me, education, I'd love to say eventually the legacy of Skilled Summers will be every person, this is what I'm hoping to implement this year, every person that goes through Skilled Summers will contribute a portion of their application fee to a month's schooling for a child. So we'll take £15 of each application fee for a child, and hopefully they will follow that child along their journey. So they'll carry, okay, well, this is the school that you're supporting. Here are the children here. Do you want to continue? Do you want to make this part of, what you want to do? So yeah, it's a drop in the ocean. You go there, you feel like it's so overwhelming. But we sponsored 2 twins, and they were 1, and they were orphaned. And now those twins are 7, and they're in school, and they're doing really well. And we get their report cards, and we're talking about sending them to private school now as well. So if we can get them into a private school where they will go and get degrees, and they become engineers or doctors or lawyers or whatever it is, and they can go back and help their communities. But without the education and without inspiring them to realize that they can leave and they can do things. Because I've traveled 70 countries, and I live in a really affluent place, and they're never going to experience that. And it really that's moved me at any level. And I've traveled since to like Thailand and Bali, Cambodia, and I see the same thing repeating.
It repeats, yeah. Well, thank you so much for your work. When I saw your bio and what you're doing with your business, but what you're doing philanthropically, I was really impressed, because I believe in prosperity on purpose, that as we're making money as women in business, we can have a massive impact. If each of us does a little something, it adds up. So thank you so much, Kat. Very inspiring. It's an absolute honor to have you on the show today.
No, absolutely. And again, what you've done there is really kind of resonated with me as well. I was like, oh, I can't wait to have a chat to you and hear a little bit more about that. But yeah, if everyone just did a little bit, and we could make such a big difference. And it's all my friends and family and people that I have lost touch with, people I went to school with or I don't speak to anymore. And I look at the donations that come in, and it's people that are just watching it and they're like, okay, yeah, it resonates, it hits. I'll donate £10, I'll donate £20. And they'll do it every single time I'll put a campaign up, because they see the pictures, they see like that it's actually happening and having an impact. So I'd love to be able to really push that through and share that message. And hopefully if we're sending hundreds and thousands of people through Skilled Summers and that resonates with them, it can come down and have an impact. But
the ripple effect will be massive. No, thank you. And thank you to everybody who tuned in today. The Her Story Circle is not just a podcast. We are a social impact movement that brings you the stories and voices of women from all over the world. We share our stories to uplift you, to inspire you, to energize you, but most importantly, to take you from where you are now to where you're trying to go. So if you are a young person who's looking to travel, here is an opportunity for you right here. Or if you are someone in business thinking about building remote teams, here is a classic example of what is possible. Just do it. You will not regret it. I'll be back again tomorrow, everybody, with yet another amazing guest. In the meantime, have a fantastic day, morning, or evening, wherever you are in the world. And Kat, thanks again for the interview.
Thanks so much. Thank you.
Bye for now, everybody. Thank you for tuning into the Her Story Circle podcast. I hope today's story has inspired you to believe in the power of our stories and the difference you can make in the world when you use your voice. I'm Gertrude Mache, and it's been an honor to share this space with you, where voices from all walks of life come together to weave a rich tapestry of diverse perspectives. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast to help us share these stories with more listeners. Follow us on social media by looking for the Her Story Circle podcast for more updates. And join us tomorrow for another episode filled with courage, resilience, and empowerment. Remember, your story matters, and together we're building a stronger, more inclusive world. Until next time, keep making her story.